Terry Law, our Truth to Go teacher this month, notes the Greek verb sozo in the New Testament is usually translated to save. It contains the total idea of salvation, which goes far beyond the forgiveness of sins. It includes God meeting every one of our human needs. It's the word used when Jesus heals and delivers. It includes every benefit that God has for us: spiritual, physical, financial, material, temporal, and eternal. These blessings are all summed up in one great all-inclusive word: salvation. Robb Thompson needed saving. He had no hope, the doctors said. Rejected by his father, neglected by his mother, he was confined in a mental institution at 22 years of age. Subconscious fears were unleashed in Robb when he considered murdering a business associate who had betrayed him. Married just 1 year, he was so troubled he sent his wife away, fearing he might never return.
I went to see the psychiatrist. They would not allow me to even get a pair of underwear to take with me. Mm-hmm. They took me and locked me up and drugged me. Mm-hmm. And they diagnosed me with an anxiety that was a rare anxiety. While I was in there, they changed the diagnosis from ambiguous anxiety to a deep character disorder. And they said, "There's nothing we can do for you. You'll be like this the rest of your life." Oh. Every year, you'll have to come in here and get your system reset. And within 10 days, you'll be back out there and you'll be good enough for another year. And then a man came and told me that Jesus would change my life.
An orderly.
Yeah. He just got a job there. And that night, when he told me Jesus would change my life, I prayed. I got down on my knees on that cement floor and rehearsed before God that I had broken his laws, that I did not know what to do about becoming his enemy, that I was the reason why Jesus had to go to the cross. And at that moment, I went to sleep. No coaching. Nobody told me what I was to say, what I was to believe, what I was to do. No one said a word. When I woke up the next morning, on October the 29th, 1975, I was an absolutely transformed person.
Today, Robb is senior pastor of Family Harvest Church in Chicago. He also develops leaders. He's traveled to 40 countries to coach government leaders, including heads of state and royalty. Wholeness, completeness, emotional well-being, fulfillment of personality, everything the way it was meant to be, because Jesus Christ is alive and well in him. Robb Thompson he escaped solitary confinement. He is a portrait of his book title, Solitary Refinement. Annette Stanwick's heart was broken, her faith shaken, when she learned that her beloved oldest brother, Soren, had been murdered while trucking in Virginia. On the drive to Virginia from Calgary, Alberta, Annette's husband comforted her from Jeremiah 8:21, where God says, "Since my people are crushed, I am crushed. I mourn, and horror grips me." Annette describes her turmoil.
I remember one night, because I longed to know, you want to make the picture real. You want to figure out the answers so that you put the puzzle pieces together. Why? Who? How? And one night, in my anger and my questioning, I lay awake trying to identify who had done this. And it wasn't names of individuals, but it was names of types of individuals who could have taken my brother's life. And I called out those names like vicious, evil, wicked, angry, vile. And it was coming from the very depths of my gut. It was my anger coming out. But Moira, right there in the middle of the night, a voice called my name. And that voice said, "Annette, your brother's murderer is deeply wounded." You know, there was another word, but this wasn't an angry word. This was a word of compassion. But then that voice spoke again, and I've come to know that voice over my lifetime as the voice of God. And that voice said, Annette, I love your brother's murderer. I love your brother's murderer as much as I love you, and as much as I love your brother.
In writing this book, you sought professional wisdom, and that's why it is a very practical counseling experience as you read it. You make the statement, a clenched psyche is like a clenched fist. It can't receive.
Yes.
And that's what anger, some other wonderful emotions we don't want to live with, fear, the woundedness, we're closed off to the healing process.
You know, when we hang on to those things like anger and bitterness and fear and resentment and guilt and shame, it's like wrapping chains around us, and the more we hold on to them, the tighter the chains become.
Annette has recorded the journey of her heart. The book is entitled The Mystery and the Miracle of Forgiveness. The FBI caught the criminals. The gang included 2 brothers who were terribly abused by their father, the mother, and a cousin in a racket where they were stealing trucks and abusing or killing truckers. Annette was able to confront her brother's murderer.
I said, Travis, there's something even more important that has happened to me as a result of this. God has given me an understanding, a deeper understanding of His love and His forgiveness. God will never love what you have done, Travis, but He loves you in spite of what you have done. And then I went on to say, Travis, here in the quietness of this moment, I am offering you God's love and forgiveness and my own love and forgiveness. And you've impacted our lives for eternity, but I pray that you will accept God's love and forgiveness so that He can surround you with His love for eternity.
Annette's heart has been healed and restored, her compassion and vision enlarged. Today she visits others who've been sentenced to life in prison, taking the message of Christ's love and forgiveness with her. There's a mission for you that is beyond you, but all things are possible with God. This is the good news you help us to bring to broken and seeking hearts every day. Stories like these and many more are well worth a visit to 100huntley.com. Your support helps to keep them coming.